Todorba El Elyon, Todorba El Shaddai. Thank you very much, Most High. Thank you very much, Mighty Power, for all that you have done, even all that you will do. For your name is great and your mercy endures forever and ever. Todorba, O great King, for delivering us from all of our trouble. Todorba, for allowing our ancestors, oh God, to be delivered, oh yeah. Todorba, for all the times when you delivered us, oh yeah, from sickness, oh yeah, from injury, oh yeah, from sorrow, oh yeah. To those, oh yeah, who may need deliverance in due time, oh yeah, I ask that you may please be with us. Please forgive us, oh yeah, for sins, for transgressions and iniquities. But we all have fallen short, oh yeah, in some way or some form. But I ask for forgiveness, oh yeah, and I ask that we may be redeemed. Talk about, oh yeah, for blessing us with another Shabbat day. For your mercy truly does endure forever and ever. Allow us to be edified, oh yeah, and allow those who bring forth the word to edify, oh yeah. And I ask that each and every one of us may have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to edify, oh yeah. And I ask that your name may be esteemed, for your name is greater than every other name. I ask that we may receive a new heart, oh yeah, so that we may do what is right, pleasing, and acceptable in your sight. I ask that we would not fall by the wayside, and I ask that we would not have to be cut off from your presence, oh yeah. But I ask that each and every one of us may be accepted by you, oh yeah. And I ask that we may receive life, even life everlasting. I ask that we may be able to receive the blessings, oh yeah, and avoid the curses at all costs. For the curses come upon those who are disobedient, oh yeah, those who hate you and those who hate your commandments. For the blessings, oh yeah, fall upon the just, oh yeah, the righteous. And I ask that we may receive them, oh yeah. Please remember us, oh yeah. And I ask that you may please remember this generation. Help us, oh yeah, with the things that we are struggling with, deliver us, oh yeah, and the things that we need deliverance from. Even as you delivered our ancestors, oh yeah, from Misraim, from Egypt. Total about for being our power, oh yeah, for being righteous. Total about for your patience with us, oh yeah. Total about for your mercy, which endures forever and ever. And total about for giving us the gift of life, oh yeah. For you have given us great things, oh yeah. Please accept these words, oh yeah, if being your will. And also ask, oh yeah, that you may please touch the hearts of those who are mourning the loss of loved ones, those who may be depressed, those who may be stressed, oh yeah, even those who may be sick and afflicted within their mind, or those who are sick and afflicted within their flesh, oh yeah. Please remember those who have become injured. But I ask that on this day that you may give them rest, comfort, and I ask that they may be refreshed. Allow your will to be done, oh yeah. Amen. Well, amen. So be it, and so be it. Hallelujah. All right. I yield the floor to you, Samak.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Ms. Bakar. Peace and blessings be upon each and every one of you in the name of the Most High Yah. Hallelujah. All right, Ms. Bakar, we're going to jump in today, focusing on the culture today. And I'm going right in today because it's all going to kind of tie in at some point, Most High willing. I'd like to first start off with the book of 1 John chapter 5. First John chapter 5. You get it, just take it from the top for me, John.
First John chapter 5, verse 1. Whosoever believes that Yahushua is Mashiach is born of Yah. And everyone that loves him, that begotten, loves him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of Most High when we love Yah and keep his commandments. But this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
Read that verse again.
For this is the love of Elohim that
one right before.
Oh, by this we know, verse 2, by this we know that we love the children of the Most High when we love Yah and guard his commandments.
So it says, by this we know that we love the children of the Most High. If we do what? By his commandments, right? So we're looking at a time when we're being taught that the commandments are something negative and the laws are something negative. But even in the Brit Kadashah, commonly called the New Testament, it is telling you that you would know how to love the children of the Most High if you do what? If you observe his commandments. Why? Because written in his commandments is the way that we're supposed to love one another. If I'm looking at your wife and I'm desiring your wife and I make a move on your wife, do I love you? Though I can say I love you and though I have this feeling of I really have an endearment for my brother. But if I do an action that is contrary to what the word says, then that is not actually love. So it's actually showing us that these commandments are put in place for a specific reason. And by us keeping them, we show the love one to another. Go ahead with the next verse.
Verse 3, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, meaning they are not hard to understand. A lot of times they're not hard to do. It's just, do we choose to do them or not? So it is also defining love. You know, we have this thing in the world where it says, do you know my love language? Well, do we know y'all's love language? If I have a love language and I have a way I want my wife to treat me and she has a way she wants me to treat her, how does it every man, woman, and child know how they want to be loved? But the creator of all doesn't have a language that he tells us how he's supposed to be loved. So he left law, statutes, commandments, and says, I love you. I left you these instructions. And now, for this is the love of Elohim, that you do what? You keep these commandments. This is how I know that you love me. And I'm actually telling you what love actually is. All right. It is the keeping of these commandments. Okay. So what I want to go into today is we're going to go down to the back to the Torah and Tanakh. So I just wanted to start there because it says, for this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments. And what we have today is we limit it to just 10 commandments, right? Because from what, and again, I'm not trying to be offensive in any way, but from the church perspective, there's only 10 commandments. And so they say we don't have to keep the 10 commandments, and everything else is pretty much done away with. You don't have to observe all of them. And then out of the 10 commandments, they actually only keep 9 commandments because they actually do away with the Sabbath. So they don't even reference, remember the Sabbath when they say they keep the 10 commandments. So y'all know I use common sense for the nonsense. We have to look at what's really going on spiritually, how people is actually trying to keep us separate from the love of the Most High. What I'm going into today, culturally wise, is the Most High left a word into his people, which in English we use the term laws, right? He left laws, but it's actually he left Torah, right? The word Torah comes from the root word yara, which means to aim, point, or instruct, right? To aim, point, or instruct. So when we get into the legalism of looking at these laws as a legalistic system, these are actually instructions on how to live life and to show what is pleasing to the Most High, so we know how to love the Most High or not love the Most High. So he give us laws, statutes, commandments. So though they are laws and legal things and moral and civil things we should and shouldn't do, they're more so rendered as instructions. They are the instructions of life, instructions of how to serve the Creator, instructions on how to love one another, right? But the law itself is broken down into several words, and we covered them last week when Malek Dawid was saying about what you should choose, and then more than honey and more than gold. He was talking about the law, statutes, commandments, and statutes and ordinances, right? So I want to focus on some of these today because it's broken down into several words when you look at the term law. So the law is broken down into what we call mitzvot, which are commandments. Commandments are, this is what you do. Keep Sabbath, keep the feast, keep this, you are to do that, right? Statutes are going to be statutes and statute. The word statute and ordinance is also like an interchangeable word. These are going to be like some rules and regulations, some instructions to further tell you the principles that the Most High wants you to keep. So for example, we have remember the Sabbath to keep it what? Set apart. You're commanded to do that. That's a mitzvah. Do this, right? But then you need to know how to do it. What are the things that I can and can't do on Shabbat? So then you have ordinances or statutes or rules and regulations that also go with the Sabbath. When we have the teaching that's commonly taught in the world today, they try to separate the regulations from the commandments and say we don't have 10 commandments, not understanding that when they limit it to the 10, the reason why we use the term 613 for some that use that term saying it's like 613 commandments is because the law is encompassed of all these things, laws, statutes, and judgments, right? Commandments, statutes or ordinances, and judgments, right? And a judgment is the word mishpat, right? Mishpat is a judgment. That is the decree that's already written in the law that if these things were to happen, here is how you handle them. Here is what you execute for the penalty of breaking the rules, all right? So when we say law, statutes, commandments, and judgment, because it gives you, here's your commandment. Here's rules and regulations or statutes and ordinances, how you govern yourselves in your community. And then here is the actual punishment or a ruling that you would rule on such things as you decide in your community based upon what's actually written and giving you the law or the instruction on what you can do as far as judgment. And this is all to keep a family or community set apart unto the Most High, right? Because if you allow any and everything to go on, then sin will continue to do what? Grow. So those judgments were put in place to try to keep people from going overboard with breaking the rules and regulations and breaking the ordinances and statutes, right? So if we could, let's go to the book, and we're just going to time from where we was at last night. And give me a moment. Let me put screen share up for those online. All right. Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 18. We was here last night. Leviticus chapter 18, because one of the things that we said they commonly did on Sabbath is they came in the synagogue on the Sabbath day, therefore to read. So today, Shlika, trying to bring this little screen down. All right. And I have two translations on screen. But the brother's going to read now. So we come into the book of Wayikra, and he called Leviticus chapter 18, and let's start with verse 1.
Leviticus 18, verse 1. And Yah spoken Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am Yah Elohim, after the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwell, shall you not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, will I bring you, shall you not do.
Pause real quick. So what do we already get from this? Let's have a little discussion before we go forward. What are you already getting without going any further than what we already read? What are you getting just from the portion he's read this for? You do not do as they do in their land. Okay, you got that from that? Anyone else have anything they want to share? You do not do as they do in the land, in their land. Anyone else? After he brings you out from where you were dwelling at, and I'm bringing you to someplace else, you should not do as you were doing there. What you were going to say, Josiah?
They should not walk in their ordinance.
We didn't go that far yet. We didn't go that far yet. I only wanted the portion that we covered so far. And I do this for a reason, because I want us to get all the substance of what's written there, right? And so now I'm going to let you respond first next time. Yes, ma'am, Makoti. Okay. Okay. And so the sister said the Most High is reminding the children that he is their power, their authority, and they should not serve any other. They should only serve him. So he's putting them in remembrance of that. Soda. All right. I don't know. I can't go back to Zoom. Shashma, I'm trying to get you co-host status, but I can't get the screen to pull back up. Let me see here. Zakin Yaquab, can you make him co-host, please? I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get back to that screen. Okay.
I'll try more.
So, okay, Toda. It says, after the doings of the land wherein ye dwell, you shall not do after the doings of the land of Canaan. So whatever you've learned there, whatever you have been doing for the past years of your life in this place, it says, as Koti Mission says, I am Yah. Yah spake unto Moshe, speaking to the Israel and say unto them, I am Yah, your power. I'm your creator. I'm your authority. I'm the one who you listen to. After the doings of the land of Egypt wherein you dwell, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whether I bring you, ye shall not do. Now, Josiah, I'm going to let you bring this part out for me. Neither shall you walk in their, what, Josiah? Neither shall you walk in their ordinances, right? So what you going to say about that, Josiah?
I was about to say that they shall walk in the ordinances, meaning that they shall walk as they did when they was in that land. Don't do their judgments, statutes, or commandments.
Okay, so he said, when you in that land, however you was living in that land, whatever their ordinances and their judgments were, you shouldn't still live by their ordinances and their judgments. Is what he's getting, and this is one of our young members. This is one of the children in the house. Hallelujah! All right. So basically, he's saying, I'm going to reestablish the way that I want you to actually walk. Right. So what I want us to understand that in Hebrew, there's words that we use such as set apart, right, or kodash, right. Kodash actually means what? Set apart. Some people say it means holy, right? Some people say set apart. Some people, we use the term set apart more so than holy. Another discussion for another time, but for the sake of being all things to all people. So we look at that as being holy, or we look at it as being set apart, right? But you do understand that from the Hebraic structure of words, a word that's supposed to be used for something positive can also be used for something more negative, right? And when we start to see these things in the word, as it tells us to study, show thyself approved, if you just read the word, you'll see certain things that we're being taught today in error because we're doing the very thing that the word itself tells us not to do, as he told Moses to teach people. Say, so neither shall you walk in their ordinances, right? So I'm going to put it on screen for those that are online, and I'll say it for those that's in the room. So the word for ordinances or statutes is the word H2708 in Hebrew, which is kuk, right? Some will say kuka, right? And it said this is the feminine form of H2706, which is going to be kuk. It says, it means substantially the same, appointed, custom, manner, ordinance, site, statute. So whatever the customs, whatever the rules, whatever the regulations that you learned there, which meant what? There are laws of the land. There's laws of lands where you've lived before. There's going to be laws of land where you're going to go. And then there's going to be whose law? Yah's law. What have we been conditioned today to believe? Obey the laws of the land, but not the laws of Yah. But when you actually read and you go slow and you start looking at everything that's written there, the Creator himself says, I brought you out from some place where I brought you out from. Do not continue to do after you did amongst them, and the things that you learned there, and you shall neither shall ye walk in their ordinances, their rules, their regulations any longer. So now when someone is trying to push us to a society norm of obeying laws of the land, we're in no way saying we don't keep the ordinances of this land. If the light is red and the stop sign says stop, you best what? We're in no way saying we're going against that. We're talking about set apart things that the Most High says. We shall not eat this. The land can say, oh, it's okay that you can eat it all like long as you pray over it. Nah, I'm not going to obey no law that's anti-Yah. Yah said, I shall not eat this. I'm not going to eat this. The land says we can do Christmas and Easter and all these other days, and we can try to make it seem like it's about the Most High. The word of the Most High gives us ordinances, statutes, or specific commandments. The commandment is, remember Pesach. Keep it set apart. Then there's ordinances of how we keep Pesach, or statutes how we keep Pesach. The word tells you, remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. That is the command. So we should remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. So when the world tells us that doesn't matter, we can break that. Those are the things we don't obey when we say, well, we just obeying the laws of the land. That's an excuse that a lot of people make to want to say that they cannot keep the laws of the Most High, which his word says are not grievous. We just sometimes don't want to do it, right? So now what we can see here clearly is it just in 3 verses that the Most High said, do not remember laws of the land. I'm about to give you some ordinances, okay? It says, verse 4, read on, Adam.
You shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances and to walk therein. I'm Elohim.
So what he said, you should keep my mishpat, okay, which is my judgments, and keep mine ordinances or statutes, which is kuka, the feminine that's here, therein. I am Yah, your Elohim, right? So you're supposed to keep my judgments. You're supposed to keep my rules and regulations. You're supposed to keep the principles that I'm setting forth for you. Don't remember that stuff and don't think about that stuff and don't observe as you was observing there. Continue on.
You shall therefore guard my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I'm Yah.
So have y'all heard the term, you put yourself back under the curse when you start observing these laws and we just want to live, and that's not living. But here it says, ye shall do my statutes, you should do my judgments and keep mine ordinance to walk therein. I am Yah your Elohim. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes or my ordinances and my judgments or mishpatim, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am Yah, meaning what? If you do these things, you're going to live. And you're going to live a what type of life? You live a long life. You live a good life. Because what's the first commandment with a promise? Yaladim, with children? Honor father, mother. So who is all of our father? The Most High. So if we're honoring him, then, and it tells us on the earth to honor our father and mother, we're following the instructions, the rules, the regulations, the ordinances, the principles that the Most High has put in place. He's promised us what? Long and good lives. His promise we're actually doing. So his word actually says, you shall live. That man that do them shall live in them, not die in them, shall live in them, right? Read on.
Verse 6. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I'm Yah.
So here are some of the ordinances or some of the commands and the ordinances that's all together that the Most High is saying. And this is something that we need to know in communities, because coming from where we was coming from in last night's study, there was things that Gadol Akoti Willeen and Imam Shoshana was saying, is that things take place in families that are not spoken of and it's just brushed under the rug. But what we have here is there are rules, regulations, and things that are put in place that tells us specific things that we need to know and we need for our children to know. We all need to know these things, but when we don't come from the Old Testament ever and we only go to the New Testament and it said, this is the love of the Most High that you keep his commandments, we don't even know what his commandments are beyond 10, which is only 9, because they don't even observe what? The Sabbath, right? And again, not trying to be offensive when I make that statement, that's just being informative. If there's 10 commandments, why do you say a day doesn't matter when he specifically says what? Remember the Sabbath. So if you say you observe the 10 commandments, why do you erase the one that's one of the most important ones, right? So now it says, none of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am Yah. And when we see this, there's a lot of things that I've even seen growing up as a child. It's not that they was doing it in an improper way. It's just we wasn't taught these things from the word. So there's things that go on at sleepovers. There's things that go on. And I mean, if they're not even doing nothing negative, it's just we're not taught these things. There's things that mothers do with children, do with daughters. There's things that fathers do with sons. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to be the one to teach you certain things. So we understand that at a certain age, a parent has to do certain things for their children. Like Shemaiah is not going to bathe herself. You see what I'm saying? So let's not be crazy when we hear the rest of this. But then there are some things that we can control and should not just be so leisurely around the house with certain things. So it says, none of you shall approach to any that is near kin to him to uncover their nakedness. I am Yah. Read on.
Verse 7, the nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother shall you not uncover. She is your mother, you shall not uncover her nakedness.
So this is going beyond just seeing the nudity also, but it's also a base level, right? At base level, you should not actually be seeing your father and your mother in a certain state. That's your parents. And so there's a lot of times when, well, we all girls, so the girls go here, we'll let the girls go ahead and get dressed and then let Iman do her thing. You see what I'm saying? We want to bathe with them. We just walk around and we can just all be nude and naked. You know what I'm saying? It's saying this is your Ima, this is your Abba. We shouldn't uncover the nakedness. Ima Audrey had someone come in to care for her Abba, which even if she had to do so, it would be understood at the state because he's returned back to a childlike state when he was having his sickness, so he couldn't care for himself. But she preferred to have someone else because she did not want to uncover her father's naked. That was her words. I have to have someone come in because I don't want to see my father's nakedness, right? And it's more so definitely on the female versus the male side of the house. It was just an uncomfortable thing. A lot of times when mothers and fathers do, sometimes the sons, when they are in that state, a son would generally try to take care of the Abba, and a daughter would try to take care of the Iman just for the sake of trying to still have some integrity, just some respect for their nakedness in that state. But that's why she didn't want to do so, because of this commandment. Now, this also goes beyond just seeing them naked, because we've seen what Reuben did. This also means when you go in to look at them and then you lust after them, you want to go into actually having some type of sexual relation with them. So it's going all the way to that extreme, all right? The nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother shall you not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Continue to read.
Verse 8, the nakedness of your father's woman shall you not uncover. She is your father. It is your father's nakedness. The nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness shall you not uncover. Okay, so the nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. Meaning, if your father has a wife that's not your Ima, it already covered your Ima. So now if he has a woman that he's married that's not your Ima, not your mother, it's the same thing. That's your father's woman. That's your father's wife. The nakedness of your father's wife shall you not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. What did Reuben do? that very thing, right? He did that very thing, right? All right, continue on. Verse 10, the nakedness of your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter, even their nakedness shall you not uncover, for theirs is your own nakedness.
The nakedness of what? Your son's daughter or of your daughter's daughter, even their nakedness you shall not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. these are your relatives. And though she's not directly my daughter, it's your son's daughter or your daughter's daughter. So the Most High still putting rules and regulations in place. These are principles that we must follow. You are not to uncover their nakedness. There should not be relationships trying to be established between a grandfather and a granddaughter. And we would say, why do we have to discuss these in Knesset or in assemblies? Because there's some places where these things are actually taking place. Or there's people forcing things on the women and the children that they don't know that the word of the Most High says is wrong and should not be, right? Continue to read.
Verse 11, the nakedness of your father's wife's daughter, begotten of your father, she is your sister. You shall not uncover her nakedness.
What did we just cover last night? About Amnon. His lust burnt so much for his sister, who he called Absalom's sister. Why? Because they had the same mother and father. He only shared the same father with her. It's still his sister. But it says he wanted her so bad, it made him sick. So to the point where his friends said, man, you lean, bro, what's going on with you? Man, I gotta have her. That's a wicked mindset. And the Creator says, the nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of your father, she is your sister. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Read on. You got something you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Verse 12.
Mhm.
You should not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is your father's near kinswoman. You should not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister.
So what is your father's sister to you? And I remember when I first read it years ago, I'm like, man, I didn't know all this was even in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things that naturally we just felt like was wrong. Like, man, that's my aunt. That's my sister. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of, some of us had a natural thing of knowing that ain't supposed to be. But some people don't have that natural way of thinking. But then when you see it actually in the word, it goes with what you naturally understood to be right and wrong. You now see it, and it gives that much more strength to it. So it says, you should not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister or your father's, you should not uncover the nakedness of your father's sister. She is your father's near kinswoman, meaning she is your auntie. All right. Verse 13.
You should not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, for she is your mother's near kinswoman.
And the same with your mother. So he's going down the line. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister. She is your near kinswoman. I mean, she's almost like your mama. Like, that's your auntie. Like, she is your mother's sister or your father's sister. This is close relative. You don't go into her. You don't go to see her nakedness, and you don't desire her to be with her in that manner. And vice versa for the females. You don't desire your uncle, so on and so forth, right? Continue to read.
Verse 14, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother. You shall not approach to his woman. She is your aunt.
So now it's edifying it all the way for you. She is your aunt, okay?
Verse 15, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law, for she is your son's woman. You shall not uncover her nakedness.
So it's a couple of things going here. For you to do so, and even if you entered into her, you would be breaking more than one command in this state, because even if you did desire her, that would be adultery, right? Anyway, this is already a negative that will be taking place there, but it's also telling you that shouldn't be in your mind. You should not even want to uncover the nakedness. You should not even be trying to look upon the desire. And I'm going to tell y'all that there's things that's wicked to go on in the earth, right? And so our daughters, we want to tell y'all, when your parents are telling you to sit up, and when men is present, there's a certain way you carry yourself. You a lady, you got on a dress. What I'm doing? Stop with all that. If your parents tell you to get up off the floor, they don't have to tell you the why. Get up off the floor. You have on a skirt. You have on a dress. Just listen to what they're telling you. Close your legs. There's a certain way a young lady's supposed to sit. A young lady should not be sitting with her legs gap wide open. That's inappropriate posture and sitting for a young lady. But the world has gotten so open itself that has our children open because we conduct like everyone else. There's reasons for that. There are, for this to be written and for it to say in the book of Bereshit, kind of called Genesis chapter 6, man's mind, not just man only, single like man, but it means mankind mind was what? Evil continually. And for this to be in here saying, don't look at your daughter, don't look at your son's wife, don't look at your father's sister, that means that amongst us sometimes it's people that what? Do these things. And as we seen with Amnon last night, every time he seen her, he would just say, I gotta have her. Can you just imagine she was sitting down and didn't really know that he was looking at her? He'd be trying to look under her skirt if he could. People are waiting for you to bend over and something. And brothers, there's a scripture that tells us we should not gaze. And I think I covered it a couple of weeks ago, if not last week. You don't look upon a woman for her beauty. You sit not at all with another man's wife. You don't look at her for her beauty. We should turn our heads sometime. And sometimes women are not purposely doing things to lift and to prepare stuff. Like when they're setting these tables, they're trying to dress as modest as they possibly can. But sometimes a woman is trying to be modest as she possibly can be in forward. And what happens with a garment? The slip slides down. If it slides down, a brother should immediately do what? Look away, turn your gaze. Because in your mind, you should know, I shouldn't want to see the nakedness of my daughter. I shouldn't want to see the nakedness of my auntie, my Ima, my brother's wife. I shouldn't want to see that. But you know what some people will do? But they do it slip. And as Ayala put in the group, or Coach Ayala put in the group last night about that premeditated sin is repetitive, you'll start trying to be over by the table where they prep at for them to have to pick up a bottle of water off the floor. You need any help with that? And I'm not trying to make us be fearful of help because we're supposed to be helpful. But what I am also saying is there are some sickos that sometimes will not know to turn their gaze. And so we might be sitting a certain way and they're hoping that they could get a glimpse of something they should not actually lay their eyes upon. And then once they lay their eyes upon it, a desire now is kindled, and then they get sicko to the point where some people sometimes make the what? The actual approach of the attempt, which most High forbid it happens amongst us. Yourself. Oh, can you, someone just came in the door. Can you see if he needed what he needed? So it says, you shall not uncover the nakedness of your father's brother. You shall not approach to his wife. She is your aunt. Verse 15 again.
You should not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law. She is your son's woman. You should not uncover her nakedness. You should not uncover the nakedness of your brother's woman. It is your brother's nakedness.
So we have seen in the text a lot of these actually what? Broken. By who? Gentiles? By who?
Israel.
By Israelites. And if we're not scared to say it, sometimes it wasn't even by the most wicked Israelites. It was some that have prominent or big names in the text that we honor and we respect because that's my forefather. I'm an Israelite because of Yaakov. I'm a Judite because of Judah. What about people that sat outside where harlots come past and was with their daughter-in-law? You know what I'm saying? Now, she might have veiled herself. He might not have known immediately. But still, why are you out looking for women anyway in that manner? So for us to act like these things don't happen, the Creator has already showed us in the text that it happens. And that's why these ordinances and these principles are written. And so we say these things are done away with. That takes away the restrictions or even the knowledge for those that may have a sick old mind to understand, you know what? Oh my goodness, I better not do that. The Most High be mad with me. There's some people that can have an issue, but because they have enough respect and fear the Most High, they will not activate their sin. They would have their sinful thoughts and they would try their best. They say, I'm gonna turn away. Man, I'm gonna turn away. That's still a good trait for a person to have discipline. To have this because I know it says I shouldn't do it. I can't help that I have the sickness, but I love the Most High more. And so therefore I'm not going to do certain things. That's why we need to read these things to people so they can govern themselves to walk pleasing in the sight of the Most High. Because the Most High said, this is the love of Yah that you what? Keep his commandments, they're not grievous. All right. So continue to read, Aki.
Verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
You should not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. Neither shall you take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman.
You should not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. There are some people that are married to a daughter or married to a mother and are having relations with the other. That's wicked. You should not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter. If you marry the daughter, the mother's off limits. If they're close in age range or you feel like I want a mature woman, but the daughter's mature and she's a little younger, but the mother's really more then before you enter one of them and you ever approach one, Approach which one you want to talk to. Because once you made that approach and you are now with one, the other is always off limits to you. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, neither shall you take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswoman. It is wickedness. And I'm going to tell y'all, we started off when it says, do not remember the customs and the ordinances or the statutes of the land where you come from. Remember my statutes. Whenever we tell people that Yah's commandments and statutes don't matter and we obey the laws of the land, you know the laws of the land allow sin. I'm going to tell y'all, it wasn't me, but I'm going to tell I've been places where it is a badge of honor for a man to come tell his friends, man, you know what, man? I told you her mama was checking me out. Man, I slept with her last night. I've heard these type things before, and that's like a bragging right for some men. It's like an achievement badge in the world to say you slept with your woman's mother or her sister. Like some people brag about that, and that's customs of what? Of the land. Now, we're not saying they put it in the law where it's legal for you to do it, but when you say we don't have to observe these customs, these traditions, and the Most High said, there's no moral or no principles and no standards that a man or woman will set that they will not go beyond. It was sick of the mother to know that this is my daughter's husband, and it's sick of the man to know this is my Isha or my wife's mother, and for them to even want to do something like that. But it goes on, and people look at that as a badge of honor, like it's a major achievement. It's one of the things, it's another notch on my belt, on my name, the credibility. And men either a word, man, I wish I could put it. My wife, mom ain't going for nothing like that. I wouldn't even try that with her. Well, you shouldn't even want to try it with her. But whenever you get someone telling you about their wickedness that they've achieved, it now makes you desire to say, man, I ain't accomplished nothing like that. What's wrong? My gang, man? No, it shouldn't. You shouldn't want to do what others do in wickedness and the customs of those that are in sin. And that's what the Most High's word is laying out for us here. Continue to read.
Verse 18. Neither shall you take a woman to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness, beside the other in her lifetime.
So as long as one sister is living, you should not what? You should not take the other sister in her lifetime. We've seen what happened when Yaakov didn't do anything wrong himself. The father-in-law beguiled him and tricked him. He labored those 7 years for a specific daughter, but he gave her the other daughter secretly. And he was like, man, what have you done? Oh, you can still have the other one too, but you got to work 7 more years. So he would labor 7 more years for her to get the one he actually wanted. But you can see that was never really a really good relationship between the sisters from that point. You know, they was competing for his affection. You know what I'm saying? And he was only wanting to give the affection to one. And we go into the mandrakes and all these different things. Y'all know the story, right? But that was just, so the Most High says, neither shall you take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness, besides the other in her lifetime. So if you're with one, you should not desire the other. Okay? Continue to read.
Verse 19. Also, you shall not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she'll put apart from her uncleanness.
And these are things that we need to know also. Control of flesh, right? There's things that a lot of times we stay away from, or we stayed away from in the church that could actually help marriages, can help relationships, can help a whole lot of things. So when you go to Corinthians, it tells you matters between a husband and a wife and how you're not to deny one another certain things. But the word also tells you there's a time that there's things that husband and wife, even if it says the marriage bed is undefiled, right? But it is things you cannot do in a marriage bed, right? So when that statement is made to a righteous thinking people that knows what should and should not take place. So meaning it's not defiled. Why? Because you're husband and wife. Y'all can be together in this matter. This is not fornication with husband and wife. As long as y'all not doing the vile things of the nation and bringing foreign stuff to the bed that shouldn't come to the bed. But now it's telling you something that we didn't really hear a lot of. And these are things that happen that when people can't control their flesh. Read that verse again.
Also, you shall not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart from her uncleanness.
So for one, there's a lot of women that feel uncomfortable with that anyway, right? There are a lot of women that feel uncomfortable. They just naturally feel uncomfortable with that anyway. But there are men that cannot control their flesh and to be like, it's all right. And sometimes they pressure women into still doing things during that time when those things just should not be. She's in her purification cycle. She's going through her monthly cleansing that the Creator has designed her precious body to do. And so that is an unclean state. Not that the woman herself is unclean. That is the process of purification of a woman's temple, right? It is a natural thing that the Most High has set on Yah's time clock for the functioning of a woman's body, that it purifies her, right? It's a time of cleansing. So it says, you should not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness, meaning when she's on her cycle, all right? That should not be. Again, we coming up. And I mean, most of us just thought that's nasty anyway, right? But there's people that was like, man, I couldn't contain myself, man. I had you. I just told her, let's go ahead. You know, and I just took a shower afterwards. That's unclean. That's sick. That's wicked. And most women feel uncomfortable. But to women and men that's worldly, to some women that's honorable. To some men that's honorable to say, I made him want me so much that even on my cycle, I still cause him to. All that is wicked. And I'm being graphic, Mr. McCall, because these are the conversations that I had in the earth. But what it says is, when a woman is put apart for her uncleanness, you should not uncover her nakedness. You should not want to see her in her nakedness. You should not want to uncover her. You should not want to, even the husband, when it says the bed is undefiled, a husband should not want to enter his wife at a time like that. That is forbidden. This is one of the ordinances that the Most High has, and it's also commanded that we should not do so. So read on. And so this is a command, and then later you're going to see that there it explains to you when you can return to the activity between husband and wife. So there's ordinances to let you know that she has a nidar. Here's the time it normally runs. And even though it might have stopped today, it don't mean you can start back today, because there's still a time period of restrictions of when you're supposed to be able to come back, which we may not get to all that today, but that's what statutes or ordinances are, okay? To explain to you, there's a commandment, you shall not do this. Then there's ordinance to let you know, and when you shall not do this, this is also how you continue or reconvene your normal activities between husband and wife. She has this time that she's put apart, and it's a time on it that she's put apart to go through the process, and there's a number of days before she's considered clean again for those things, which we get to at another point. All right, read on.
Verse 20. Moreover, you should not lie carnally with your neighbor's woman to defile yourself with her. And
who did that?
David.
King David. Moreover, you should not lie carnally with your neighbor's wife to defile yourself with her. That's why this stuff has to be written. King David was known as a man after the Most High's own heart, but King David needed to read these rules and regulations that's put in place also, because we are all flesh, and sometimes our flesh will cause us to do things, and this word is supposed to say, nah, buddy, you know you better not do that, because there's a command you shouldn't do it, and there's ordinances, and there's judgments that if you're found guilty of these things, here's what might happen to you, all right? And this is how we govern ourselves before the sight of the Most High. Read on.
And you shall not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech. Neither shall you profane the name of Elohim. I'm Yah.
So you don't offer your children, you don't let them pass through the fire to Molech, you don't sacrifice your children. There's things called human sacrifice or sacrificing the children. And I don't get all caught up on the social media stuff, but man, you let people online tell it. Anybody that dies, somebody says, oh, I knew they sacrificed this kid. No, sometimes people's children just die, you know, it does happen. But then in some elite circles, there is things that when these things happen to some of these children, they are offering the children up for fame and fortune and things like that. But if we don't know fully what that is, I don't put my mouth on it. But what we know is we do not sacrifice our children for any sacrifice to get some type of gain from any deity, you know, because the Most High don't say offer your children as they did. You don't offer it to Molech. All right, continue on.
You should not lie with mankind as womankind is abomination.
Here's another thing. This is a commandment. You shall not, regardless of the laws of the land today that says this is okay. We started off a certain way for a reason. The Most High says, don't do anything that they did in the land where I'm bringing you from. Don't remember, and don't do their what, Josiah? And don't do their ordinance, their statutes, their rules, their regulations, things that they allow, things that they condone. Don't you partake of that. I'm bringing you away from that, and I'm establishing what I want you to do and how to do it. So now it says, you should not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is what?
Abomination.
It is an abomination. The word for abomination is toiba. I mean, it's something disgusting, something vile, something the Most High really hates. Sin and abomination sometimes is two different things. Sin is missing the mark. We could be trying to keep Sabbath and find out, oh, I'm doing this wrong on Sabbath, but you still kept Sabbath today. And the Most High winked at you in your ignorance because you was making the attempt. You was trying to do it and you read something on Sabbath and said, oh my goodness, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do this. I still do this, but that don't mean you're abominable. It just means I didn't know, now I'm no one would do this. An abomination is you know something is wrong and you still do something that's extremely wicked anyway. It is now no regard to the Creator. You did it in rebellion. You did it knowingly, and it's something that's utmost disgusting in the sight of the Creator. So it says, and again, I'm not saying this to be offensive, because if anyone is dealing with any tendencies or trying to recover from or trying to come out of a way of life that has been pushed on them or that they may think they've been born into, I don't get into that discussion of how you come to be that way. What I'm saying is that this assembly, we love you, okay? And when we speak the word of thus saith the Most High, we're not speaking towards you or at you. We're only saying because at some point, we all fit some of these things that we should not do. And when you see the ordinance come forth or the command come forth that say you shouldn't do, the fact that we're speaking on it does not mean we're trying to judge anyone or make you feel down. Because we love you, we have to proclaim this thing to you. So according to the word of the Most High, it says, you shall not, commandment, you shall not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. A man has no business ever desiring another man as he desires a woman. It is unnatural. It is unnatural affection. It is a lustly desire of the flesh that we should not partake in. Now, society has now come and said what? It is lawful and okay, which makes people who never actually activated their desire feel like it's okay now because you're saying it's okay. And I'm going to share something. This happened probably back in 2000, maybe 2004. This is how long ago this was. We would travel back and forth to Fayetteville during Hebrew Academy. No, probably before 2004. It probably was before, probably around 2000, somewhere way back then, or the 90s. We was traveling back and forth to Fayetteville to meet with the other brothers where we would do Hebrew Academy. And we would always stop at a gas station. And in this gas station, there was one young man that you can tell had effeminate tendencies, right? And we all dressed in our all black with our fringes on, because we just soldiers. We ain't got no rank yet. We trying to get promoted. So we dressed in the all black. We just soldiers. So we walk in that store all the time. But he was a brother that, you know, was confused. He had tendencies. But one of the brothers, I respect how he approached the brother. When the brother asked who we were, and he would talk to him when we go in there. And so he finally asked the brother, you know, basically, are you gay? And the brother told him, I really don't know. I think I am, but I'm still a virgin. I've never been a man or woman, but I do think I'm attracted to women. I mean, attracted to men, but he's not activated. And so then the brother shared with him, well, it's good that you haven't done so. But if those are things you're thinking about, the word of the Most High said you shouldn't do this thing. So if you are trying to understand where you are and you are trying to fight those temptations, I hope this word helps you not to go that route, because the Most High said you shouldn't. He was still a virgin, but he felt like he had desires and he knew himself that he had feminine ways. So he think that he leaned more towards that way, but he wasn't activated. So we got to be very mindful that because we see someone's tendencies, that we look down upon them and they could have the tendency and could be leaning towards a way and conduct themselves. We don't know what in their life caused them to be like that, but our words can help them make a righteous decision, can help them pray to overcome, and can do like that young man do, request tefillah or pray for me, because he was still a virgin. So he was still in a good place, but he knew that he was struggling with those thoughts. What do you think happens to a young man in today's age that thinks I'm this way, but I think that is wrong because society said it is wrong, but the way this young man explained it to me with love and show me from the word of the Creator, I'm going to fight to make sure I don't activate my flesh. What happens when society says it's lawful? We throw it out the window now. I'm going to go ahead and activate this. That's the reason why these ordinances are in place, for us to teach them so that we understand that the Most High is not pleased. And so sometimes we speak about it. Yes, I know there's certain things we speak about with a little bit more energy, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes we might need to even tone down our energy with how we discuss it, but we actually need to speak about it with love. If anyone is battling with those tendencies, you know, it is just not of the Most High. It's not natural. And if you need prayer, request prayer from those who you trust. If you want me to pray for you, I will pray for you and will not judge you. Pray for yourself, but understand that the Most High says what? You shall not lie with mankind as with a womankind. It is an abomination. This is not even just sin no more. This is abominable. This is not even missing the mark. I've given you the commandment. I told you what not to do. You understand clearly what I mean by this. And if you do so, it is an abomination. That is not even sin at this point. It's abomination. It's vile. All right. Continue on.
Verse 23. Neither shall you lie with any beast to defile yourself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion.
I have a question. Can anybody tell me what that means?
It means that it's bestiality, which means that a man or woman is trying to defile themselves with an animal.
Okay, so Josiah, Josiah, you're on fire here today. It's bestiality. A man or woman should not be trying to do bestiality of have any type sexual relations with an animal, right? Do y'all believe anybody really think about stuff like that? Right, it's unheard of. It's like no, right? Well, it used to be unheard of to me. It used to be unheard of to me. No, even before the scripture, it used to be unheard of to me because we just don't do that. And I'm gonna tell you, in our community, we are quick to say what other community, oh, that's what they do. We don't do nothing like that. Happened in our community where I know someone that had to get carried away in an ambulance when the Most High exposed his sin. Had to go be removed from a dog. That's sick. And you know that shame that he had in the community for that? That's embarrassing. But to be to the point where you and the dog cannot part company. No one was ever supposed to know, but it was an emergency situation. That's disgusting. So for us to think that these words didn't have to be written, because who would think people are doing it? The adversary would cause lust and fleshly desires to come up, that if I can't find a woman, I might find a dog. That's your flesh. When these desires come in flesh, and a lot of times, like what happened when Jonadab gave Amnon counsel on how to get a sister, sometimes it's things you're not even thinking about yourself. It may be somebody told you, man, you ever tried a dog? Man, it's the same. Whatever, however it came that you tried it, you don't need nobody giving you that type of advice. But what the word says is you shall not do these things, all right? So I just want y'all to know, and it says, neither shall you lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith, neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down there unto it. It is confusion. It is perversion, is what it says in the scripture version. So I'm going to read it from the scripture version now. And do not have intercourse with any beast to defile yourself with it. A woman does not stand before a beast to mate with it. It is a perversion. That's perverted behavior. It's unnatural. All right. Continue to read.
Verse 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things. For in all these things, the nations that are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore, I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. So
he said, I'm going to visit the iniquity thing because the lands where y'all coming from, the lands where y'all going to, that's what they do. They are defiled places. And I instructed y'all, don't do after their ordinances. Don't do after their statutes. Don't remember their ways. Don't learn of their customs. I'm giving you the laws, the statutes, the commandments that I want you to observe, and the judgments. All right. Continue to read.
And the land itself vomits out her inhabitants. You shall therefore guard my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourns among you.
So again, just to show you here that clearly this word is not only to Israelites, this word is to Israel and the sojourners amongst Israel. And we know that sojourner is one that what? Desires to be amongst you, desires to be in your community, is learning of your customs, and they want to live amongst you, right? So it says, you shall therefore keep my statutes, akuka, and my mishpat, my judgment, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation. So it don't get any much more clear than that. Neither of your own nation, nor the stranger that sojourns among you. This is not allowed. And so you need to let them know as well that if you live amongst us, those ways that your people probably used to practice, we can either practice them in our land because that's an abomination. We don't sleep with our sister. We don't sleep with our daughter. We don't sleep with our son. We don't sleep with our mother, our uncle. We don't sleep with any beast. We don't do these things. Men don't sleep with men. Women don't sleep. We're not allowed. It's abominable to the Most High. We don't want the land that the Creator is bringing us to spew us out. So it says to your own nation or the stranger that sojourns among you. Read on.
Verse 27. For all these nations, for all these abominations have the men of the land done which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew you not also out also when you defile it, and as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them, shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall you guard my ordinance, that you commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that you defile not yourself therein. I'm Yahweh.
So what the Most High basically say what happened if you break any of these?
Land gonna spew you out.
The land gonna spew you out. What else?
You cut off from people.
You've been cut off from the people. You no longer accepted. You may be put to death. So have y'all ever heard that the God of the Old Testament was the mean God? Have y'all heard it before? Yeah, the God of the New Testament was the old God. The God of the New Testament is merciful. So we see what he said should happen, right? And it did happen. We got kicked out of the land, right? What happened to King David? What happened to King David? He did some of this. He didn't get killed. He didn't get cut off. But Yah was merciful to him and spared him, right? What happened to his son when his son did it? Like he still got it later by his brother, but David didn't have him what? Immediately put to death, killed. So tying in from what we came from last night, it also says with the same judgment that you judge someone else, that's gonna be the way you're judged. So be mindful of the mercy. So yes, there are laws written with judgments, but what we can also see written within the Torah itself or in the Tanakh itself was the mercy and judgment from the Creator himself, as well as from certain leaders themselves that could actually side on the side of the max penalty of the punishment, or they can actually decide to do what? Be merciful, all right? And so what we have to understand is these things, yet these things are written, but at the same time, there's mercy that can be applied, and mercy was already written within the old itself, because we've seen the Most High extend mercy to Israel for a lot of it. He didn't put Israel out of the land immediately when they was doing these things. He kept giving them a warning, but what happened was we ourselves are supposed to do what? Govern ourselves. So because y'all are doing it, don't mean I'm gonna put y'all out, because I'm giving y'all a law for the people who's doing it. So the people that's doing it, as long as y'all are correcting them, checking them, putting them in line, and don't let it spread, and now y'all all start accepting it and y'all all start doing it, y'all will be okay. But now y'all have all turned to, often your children, you've all turned to this level of wickedness, you've all turned to this abominable ways, you've all accepted the customs of the land over my customs, over my law, statutes, commandments. That's why Israel got put out. But the Most High still extended mercy to Israel too. So with that, Mishpachah, I pray and I hope everyone got some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from this portion. This is what they would do on Sabbath in the synagogue on the Sabbath day. They would come forth to read, to discuss these laws, statutes, commandments. And some of this may be new to some. Like though we've been reading Old Testament before, is some of this the first time some of y'all have heard some of these things? You read the chapter before, it still seems like something new, huh? Uh-huh. This is a red pass, right? You have to read it to understand it. Read it to understand it. So these are some of the cultural things that they was doing in the synagogue on the Sabbath day. They would come in to read to understand. Thus saith the Most High. So as we started off, it says, "For this is the love of Elohim, that you keep His commandments. His commandments are not grievous." Now they may be a little hard on us sometimes because our flesh don't want to let go of what we're doing, but His commandments are not actually hard. If you love Him, then you would observe His laws, statutes, commandments. And so because of where we at in our reading with King David, that's the reason why I want to go ahead and finish this particular chapter as we started on last night, and why you cry Leviticus, because we've seen that David and his sons broke some of these commandments, you know. And so, and when the scripture tells us in the Brit Kadashah, there's none without sin, we all fall short in sin at some point. It is true. We see David fell for a moment, okay? We even seen Solomon, who was the most wise king, fell for a moment. Like there's times when we might make mistakes. We're not saying that for us to try to say, oh, well, I know I'm gonna mess up, and you just purposely mess up. No, we want to try our best not to make mistakes, but understand that we will make mistakes, and also understand the mercy and the compassion we should have on someone when they're in their moment of making a mistake, and that we direct them to the word of the Most High with love and compassion, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to help them get back on the right track with the Most High. So with that, that's the culture portion for the day. I give all honor and esteem to the Most High. Thank you for his word that he left for us, that we may grow and mature in it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I yield the floor to Adon Kanaka. We'll speak out before I go forward.